Godrick the Grafted has body dysmorphia. His brain tells him he needs more arms, but he doesn't need more arms! Or legs. It's sad. And also, there's something weird about this guy, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Maybe that's because Godrick stole my finger! Ah! Oh no! Or maybe the thing that's weird about him is that his body is literally a graveyard of stolen appendages. That's gotta be it. Godrick is unequivocally the grossest boss in Elden Ring, because the Dung Eater is not a boss. And even though Godrick is a super early game boss, I can't stop thinking about him over 2 years after the game's release. Do you have the same problem? And no, I'm not having intrusive thoughts about a deranged demigod stealing my limbs to absorb my power. No, I can't stop thinking about Godrick as a person. Like, what does it take to become like a Godrick? We all have the capacity for evil, and this guy is really pushing the limits of his capacity. By now, you probably know his story. But if you need a refresher, Godrick was hounded from Lendel, the royal capital, during a siege, and he took the Mimic Veil with him so he could disguise himself as a woman and hide amongst the fleeing ladies. Then, according to Kenneth Haidt, the most pretentious man in the lands between, Godrick insulted Malenia and proceeded to lose to her in battle, just like I did many times. Despite Godrick's initial disrespect towards Malenia, he begged for his life instead of dying like a man.
Rather than die like a man.
After that, General Radahn came after Godrick, but the Big G had assembled an army and held himself up in Stormvale Castle, successfully thwarting Radahn and his tiny horse and big army. Once Godrick had won, he had all the time in the world to take up a new hobby. Grafting. The hobby was grafting. Which is, of course, the vile act of attaching living tissues from one organism onto another. And so, Godrick became the monstrosity we see before us in Stormvale Castle. He also made icky, scary soldiers called Grafted Scions. That's the basic rundown of his lore. We're already seeing patterns of disrespect, cowardice, and straight-up evil. I will say, I'm impressed he beat Radahn, but I think that's only because he was holding up in a castle. Indeed, there's something about Godrick's story that's got me hooked. I don't quite know what it is. I'm on a mission to find out so that I can finally move on with my life. It's been like 2 years and I can't stop thinking about this guy. I hate it.
Well...
Consider this video my little therapy session. What's that noise? Swiss psychiatrist and psychotherapist Carl Jung, what are you doing in my kitchen? And stop eating my bread. This video sure is unhinged. Whatever, I'm too busy with this juicy Elden Ring lore to deal with influential psychologists breaking into my apartment. Also, aren't you dead? How are you? Whatever. Do your worst, Carl. Back to the game. I'm pretty sure Enya the Finger Reader made it clear that Godrick was born as the runt of the litter, the weakest in his demigod family. Point is, his weakness in this cruel world explains why he's so delusional and mean. For instance, Godrick calls himself the Lord of all that is golden.
I am the Lord of all that is golden.
While everyone, including his health bar, calls him Godrick the Grafted. He's trying to make the golden thing a thing, but it's not working. It's not fetch at all. Kenneth calls Godrick a country bumpkin.
Country bumpkin.
Rodrika is super sad that everyone she's ever loved has been grafted.
Grafted?
And the eagles in Stormvale Castle have blades instead of talons. Grafted, they've been. Also, there's the jar with arms as one of the enemies in Stormvale Castle. Godrick will let anybody work here. I'm kidding, that's a warrior jar. Their kind are highly respected warriors, and they like a good spanking. Anyway, nobody likes Godrick, not the eagles, not the sensitive spirit tuning girl, and certainly not Kenneth Haidt. And if that jar had a face, I bet it'd be frowning at Godrick. Gostock the Gatekeeper even stomps on Godrick's head after he dies and calls him
Craven to the bone.
If someone called me Craven to the bone while stomping on my dead body, I'd be shook. Little G's self-proclaimed title of the Lord of all that is golden is cringe and full of copium. I get that he had a rough childhood and he's insecure about his strength, but how did it get this bad? Oh my god, Carl, come on, I'm filming right now. And now you're eating my peanut butter. I love peanut, stop it. What's that you say? Puer aeternus. What is happening? Let's see here. The negative aspects of the puer aeternus is used to refer to a certain young man who remains too long in adolescence and is usually coupled with too great a dependence on the mother. Ah, so you're saying Godrick is a man-child with an overdependence on his mom. Too bad we don't know anything about his mom. I wonder if she's hot. We'll never know, unless From Software comes out with a crazy DLC. But okay, Godrick doesn't seem to have an overdependence on his mom, but clearly he overdepends on his lineage. He's a distant relation to the Golden lineage, aka Godfrey and Marika's bloodline. Everything he does, including grafting, is meant to make his proverbial mommy and daddy proud. If he kills us during a fight, he says,
Great Godfrey, didst thou witness?
As if daddy is watching him. But daddy isn't watching. He never was. Godrick is cringe and gross and nobody wants to look at him. He's giving puer aeternus energy, and nobody is into it. Godrick is symbolic of a dying light, the fading power of Godfrey and Marika's bloodline. That's why I killed Godrick, got the Great Rune, and moved on with my life like everyone else. And yet, over 2 years after Elden Ring's release, he has haunted me. Long after I first slayed his loser ass. But why? And why is Carl Jung eating my stale bread and peanut butter and telling me a Latin phrase that means man-child? My life is so dumb. Maybe I can't stop thinking about Godrick because I'm a puer aeternus, or at least I feel like one. I know I've been gone for like 3 years. Focusing, doing things is hard sometimes, but I'm fine. I've made a comfortable living making YouTube videos for other people. It's all good. We're good, but I'm kind of in a weird limbo in my career right now. Anyway, Godrick being a loser, I guess, brings up feelings for me. Maybe Godrick is a way worse version of the way I feel about myself. At least I hope he's way worse. Anyone got some arms I can steal? I'm joking. Okay, Mr. Jung. Something tells me you broke into my house for more reasons than to eat my food and say one word. You're a psychologist, right? Psychologize me, Captain.
Country bumpkin. Unfit even to graft.
I finally understand, Carl. Your telepathy-induced hypnotic psytrance took me to the depths of my unconscious mind, and that's where I confronted my fear of never truly growing up. It's clear now that Godrick is a perfect, an extreme example of the immature masculine, the puer aeternus. And being immature, man, that's like one of my biggest fears. Godrick needed to confront his fear that he's just a big weenie, at least in terms of physical strength compared to his demigod kin. Godrick could have sat with his fear of being a weenie, just felt where he felt it in his body, acknowledged it, and then figured out what to do from there. Instead, he avoided his fear by escaping into delusional power fantasies. Even in death, he preposterously says this to Godfrey.
I am. And one day, we'll return together to our home, bathed in rays of gold.
Bathed in rays of gold. This guy thinks he's gonna take a bath with Godfrey someday while he's literally evaporating into oblivion. You're never gonna rub-a-dub-dub in a tub with Godfrey, bro. This puer aeternus dude, I can't with this guy. I will not be him. I acknowledged and confronted my pain about feeling stuck in life, and now things are happening. I've ascended to new heights and claimed my place as a man. I mean, I've been a man, but I've needed to evolve into my next form. And yes, that involves doing the splits. It will help me embody openness to a new, better, more mature, more confident way of being, in spite of my fears. Godrick never learned the splits. He never humbled himself enough to be willingly bad at anything. He's just always trying so hard to impress people and not being himself or figuring out who he really is and how he really feels. He's disconnected from himself. And that's why he never grew up. And now I know that I've been fixating on Godrick because he's a haunting reminder of what happens when you only ever run from your fears. And thanks, Carl, for showing me the aspects of myself that I had been avoiding for so long. And yeah, the hypnotic psytrance was a metaphor for me smoking less weed and paying more attention to my feelings. That's the story of Godrick the Grafted. The story you never knew. And there is Godrick the Grafted. I got another video coming out in within the next 48 hours on the Minecraft movie. It'll be right here on the end screen and on the channel. Hit that bell. Get notified.